Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. Welcome to another episode of Nufftingz Speaks with me, Nufftingz Speaks. So we're gonna have a conversation today about some stuff that I've wanted to talk about for a long time because of the inconsistencies of how things are happening, right? So, little backstory. This is not a hate piece. It's not. What it is, though, is that I'm speaking on the truth, and I'm speaking on what is being overlooked and how Niantic has a serious double standard. Now, the reason why I decided to do this video, I wasn't going to do anything more, but like Niantic really got on my nerves, and they don't know how to act. Now, mind you, if Niantic were to call me right now and say, "Hey, man, we want to give you back your account," I would just say, "Look, let me get access to the account and give me unlimited energy so I can send my Pokemon to home." I want nothing to do with this company at all. Zero. And I was a paying customer, right? Let's be real here. I was putting money in that. And I wasn't doing any of their little glitches or any of that stuff that people were doing. But we're going to talk about those today. Now, the reason why I decided to do this video is because one of my homeboys, he said to me today that, sorry, he considers the auto walkers cheating. You know, the walkers that go left, right, and get you steps. Okay, he considers that cheating, but he doesn't think that he didn't think. Okay, let me not make him look stupid. Okay, he wasn't stupid though. Like, I'm not saying he was stupid, but like I don't want to make him sound worse. Okay, I then go, well, what about the Indians Rupees glitch? What about the scanners? Oh yeah. Well, if I get banned, I get banned. And I'm like, but you consider one cheating, but then the other one you're doing and you know it's cheating, right? So you're mad at one, but you're not mad at the other. Like, I don't see, I can't understand how this makes any sense, but this is the thinking of a lot of people, right? In my opinion. Now, I wanted to talk about this because there's so much cheating in this game, and we've seen people fight inside the mall and be like, yo, you're cheating in a kid's game, and that's actually funny. So we're going to do this by chapters. I'm going to talk about certain things and give you a little of my input in it if I have any. All right. So for me, I wrote this down. So chapter 1, this is setting the record straight. This is not a promotion, this is explanation. Before I even started to be clear about something, I'm not promoting cheating, which I'm not. I'm not telling anyone how to do anything, which I'm not. I'm not linking tools, apps, or devices. What I'm doing is explaining what exists, what I've personally seen playing Pokemon GO, and what AI helped connect logically about why some behaviors are punished hard. So I had AI research while I was researching, and we put our brains together. AI is very useful when it comes to stuff like this because they'll find stuff quick and then you can look it up yourself and see what it is. While others seem completely ignored, this isn't about attacking players. This isn't about snitching. It might be a little about snitching. This is about systems, incentives, and why communities feel broken. Because communities are feeling broken. You see, one of the things that I wanted to say, and I've been saying this for a long time, Niantic will never change their mind, because after the 10 emails where they gave me back the same stupid responses, I sent one telling them where to stick it, telling them that the only reason why they make any money is because of the Pokemon IP. All their other games are dog doo-doo. Okay, and let's be real here. What has Niantic pulled out of their butt that made anything? That made any money? That did anything? Pokemon was simple. You know what I'm saying? Majority of Pokemon games do last a good while, right? Now, let's be real here. Pokemon Sleep sucks, but people still play it. They've monetized the hell out of that game. Pokemon Go was different. It was something new, right? But it doesn't change the fact that if it wasn't Pokemon, it would have been nothing. It would have sucked. No one cared because there's actually another game that came out like I think a year after Pokemon Go, does the same thing, looks better, but it's not Pokemon, so it just sits there idly. Like I actually played, it's still out. And the game isn't bad, but because there's no money put into it, it has a lot of glitches that when you throw the balls, they don't, whatever. Now, let's be real here. I'm losing my voice. Pal World is better than Pokemon, but we're going to sit here and say Pokemon is better because we have the nostalgia to it, right? We also have Digimon. Time Stranger is better than the last, 15, 20 years of Pokemon games? Time Stranger and even the other one. Look like this, all right? I'm a Digimon fan, but I didn't know about these story games for Digimon. Like, because we don't see this. Like, we don't see these things. Digimon has always been superior to Pokemon. Now, mind you, the reason why Pokemon is so good, in my opinion, and why we like it, is it's simple. It's not hard. Digimon goes far and beyond to make it so confusing for people that it doesn't make any sense. Like sometimes it's like you want to get a Digimon, you gotta take one Digimon, you gotta digivolve it or de-digivolve it like 3 times down and then have it go a separate path to get wherever, right? Now in Time Stranger, you have to have certain not abilities, but it has to have certain natures, right? In Pokemon terms, like it has to be a different nature, right? For you to get certain ones, right? So you'll be sitting there like, yo, how do I get this? And you got to tinker around with it, whatever, right? But that's not simple. And people want simple, right? I'm not going to lie. I like simple, but I'm not going to lie either. Digimon Time Stranger and the other one, like Cyber Sleuth and all that, which I picked up recently, are far superior than anything not Niantic, that Game Freak or Niantic has pulled out of their butt. Okay, like let's be real here. Like, are we gonna sit here and deny that? Like, come on. Pal World, way better, right? What is Nintendo doing? Fighting with them to high hell over stupid assets that they shouldn't even own. Like, my perfect example of why I don't like Nintendo and Pal World's fight is that argument about Lucario and the Anubis. The Anubis in Pal World looks way better than Lucario. And I love Lucario. Who cares? Like, it's based on Anubis, like, who cares? Like, like, it's dumb. Like, the whole thing is stupid. So you're not allowed to have a game that's similar. Like, I mean, you could say it's a complete ripoff, but come on. Is it really? Or are you just playing Pokemon and just a huge Pokemon fan? You don't want to hear anything. Like, come on, let's be real here. Now, then you have these other games that have come out, like Card Me. I think Card Me is a great game, right? But it's a gacha. Like, these gacha games are all over the place. And they look better, they play better than Go, they play better than most of the mainline Pokemon games too. They look better. And it's like, but we're still arguing on Pokemon is superior, whatever. Moving on. So chapter 2, the pattern everyone notices. If you've played long enough, you've noticed the same patterns. The same players always know where hundos are, show up to raids before anyone posts them, never seem to miss rare spawns, control gyms with perfect timing. Meanwhile, casual players are left asking, how did they even know that was there? This isn't luck, this isn't skill, this isn't just grinding harder, right? Okay, this is information advantage, and that's the thread that connects almost everything we're about to talk about. Okay, chapter 3. Scanners exist, and this is not how to use them. I'm not telling you how to use them. But here's the joke about scanners. Before I tell you this part, let me tell you my interaction with scanners. I've been playing Pokemon Go for 4 years, right? And, well, yes, 4 years. I'm not playing anymore. But it was almost 4. Actually, you know what? It would have been 4 years a couple days ago. Today's the 24th. It would have been 4 years on the 22nd, right? Yay, party. Okay. My first interaction with scanners was so funny. Remember how I've talked about gatekeepers in Mississauga? There was a lot of them in Mississauga. Now, what used to happen is me and my family, without any knowledge of anything, used to go to Square One for community days. And we used to walk around, catch 900 Pokemon, and go crazy, right? Now, you would then have people that were never there for these community events. Like they were never there, but they would appear, it was 2 to 5. They would appear at like 4:30, right? And we're talking about they would all appear, and we're talking about the OGs. You know what I'm saying? Like the guys that are the women and the guys have been playing forever, right? And they would come and be like, "Yo, look at these 2 Shundos I got." And they would like just throw this in your face. So I never understood what was going on, and I didn't know enough to ask the right questions. I did not know. Now I then found out because one of the PvP players out here told me. He goes, "Bro, we use scanners." I'm like, "What? Isn't that against terms of service?" "Yeah, but the way I would set up, you can't get caught." And then when this dude told me, he was like, "Yo, keep it hush hush." Okay, fine. Yo, a month later, everybody's using it. And I mean, like, 95% of Mississauga was using it, right? And it wasn't only, okay, they have a Discord, right? When you go to the Discord, which I can't show you screenshots, and I would show, because I really don't give a crap anymore, they would have all these channels. They would have Mississauga, where the hundos are. Like, it would pop up, every couple minutes, like a new one pops up and it will come into the channel, right? The channel would then show you exactly where it is. You click on it and it would give you the GPS directions from where you're at. Like it would connect to your GPS and you would drive to it, walk to it, ride your bike to it, whatever. And it would tell you the level, the IVs. If it's a hundo, you already know the IVs, the CP, and whatever, right? Now on community days, the shiny rate is much higher, right? So when you get like 30 hundos, you have a very high chance of getting shundos, right? Now, when you use that, there are some people that would say it's not legit. Like, I remember one time in particular, we were all at Living Arts Center, right? Living Arts Center is a little place where they do concerts and stuff, right? Like, small concerts. Like, it's like not a concert like, where you'd see Drake. A concert like a little show, like on stage, like stage plays, right? One time I was sitting there and all you hear was, there's a hundo gibble behind us, right? If you see the trample of people running for this gibble, right? And at the time, I had no idea how they knew where it was. Like, how did people know? Now, when you're naive to the fact, you would be like, "Oh, well, someone got it," and then they tell you. That's how I always thought it was. But this is different. Like, this is where the scanner tells you and you would go. So it got to the point where I didn't have the scanner. But then people tell me, "Hey, man, there's a hundo Scolipede in Square One." Right? And I'm like, "Bro, I'm not going for that." It was like cold. But, this was the interactions I was having. Now, iPlateau is a funny one. I know it's probably different other places, but this one in particular, it had it worked in Brooklyn. It worked in Waterloo. It worked in, was it Waterloo or Windsor? Anyways, it was a lot. Brampton. Like, everybody used it, right? And that's why community days, you never see people. They would always drive around, spend their gas to get hundos. They drive location to location to location. And I'm going to tell you straight up, I've been a passenger in those cars, right? So I'm going to sit here and tell you, I've witnessed this myself. This isn't me talking about what, Monkey Face said to me or someone. I'm not calling someone a monkey face. I'm just saying, like, so anyone, like, it wasn't like this was just something that I was told. I witnessed it. I've been there, right? I've caught a couple shundos this way. This is also why I'm so mad at Niantic too. I can never get my Shundo Rayquaza that I got, my first ever Shundo. I got it at the Go Fest when Mega Rayquaza was released. And I'm very upset because I want my Rayquaza. I use that thing in so many battles That was my go-to for everything. I miss my Shundo. I would like my Shundo back. But it's probably going to be deleted like everything else. And yeah, so going back to the iPlateau. Now, it's not like this is free. It costs money. So let me move on to back to my story here. Not my story, but my what is it? What do you call this again? My script, whatever you want to call it. Okay. where was I? Okay, so third-party scanners like iPlateau that exist inside the official Pokemon Go app. At a high level, scanners like this are known to display raid locations and timers, spawn locations, Pokemon IVs, including Hundos, despawn timers. I forgot about that. It actually had a timer where it tell you when it was despawning, right? They don't play the game for you. They don't tap for you. What they do is remove the discovery phase. Instead of walking around and finding things, players arrive already informed. That single change completely reshapes how the game feels. Now, there's been many times when I've been a passenger and we've gone to a spot to get a hundo and we see 4 cars roll up behind us. And it's 4 people that we know, going for the same hundo. So, this is like something that happens all the time, right? And I know people are going to message me and be like, shut up. I don't care. Okay. The money nobody likes talking about. Now, this goes to what I'm saying about it being a paid service. Pokemon Go quietly becomes pay to know. Here's the uncomfortable part. Scanners like iPlateau aren't free in practice. From widespread community knowledge, access is usually submission-based, right? Roughly $10 to $20 for a month for basic access, $30 to $50 a month for premium alerts. Long-term users can spend hundreds of dollars per year. This isn't pay to win in the traditional sense. It's pay to know. And once information is monetized, skill matters less, walking matters less, time matters less. The real advantage becomes who has better intel. Now, let me break it down for you because it wasn't that easy to find online, but I will tell you the prices. Now, monthly, it's like $10, $12, right? Canadian dollar and Canadian dollars week, right? But you could pay subscriptions for yearly, which I've known people to do. But at the beginning, when it was first brought out here, this is before I was playing, but I know this because I've heard this story a million times. There was a pay once feature, right? So it's tiers, right? So you have like the basic, whatever, but gold, that's the $10 a month one, right? You pay like, I think it's like $200 for one time. That was when it first came out, right? And that will show you the hundos and all that. But then there's an even higher one, and it's diamond. I know diamond is like $290, right? Now, you could buy those when the dude that runs the thing will then put up a promotion and say, I have 10 spots open for you to get unlimited diamond, lifetime diamond, whatever, right? I've never bought that. I don't know how that works exactly. All I know is that it gives you, apparently from what I've heard, when you go diamond, you can create your own scanner. Like if you're somewhere where there's no scanners, your phone will become a scanner and it'll show you the hundos in like a certain thing, like a certain amount of space, right? But here's the thing about the scanners too that's really funny. Let's say you put in your address, right? You go GPS your address, right? Get all the digital crap, right? You tell the GPS, yo, I'm at this spot, and give it the coordinates, right? And then you say you want to know the hundos over the next 1,000 meters. It will then, anytime a hundo pops up, it'll send you a notification on Discord and say, hey, the hundo is 600 meters away, right? And it'll show on the map, and you click on the map, and it'll directly bring you there. That's what people found it. They're not driving, looking for it themselves. They're being told exactly where it is. So what do you do when you do that? You turn off your gotchas. You turn off your Gold Plus. You turn off everything. Because you don't want to accidentally try to catch it and then it runs away, right? Okay. Moving on. So, why Niantic doesn't ban scanner users? Against the rules, rarely punished, right? Okay. Officially, Niantic says scanners violate the rules. That part is true. What AI helped connect is why the players using the information usually aren't bad. This is what AI did for me. Here's the logic. Niantic cannot reliably prove how a player learned about a spawn. Scanner-assisted players still move normally, tap normally, raid normally. No spoofing, no bots, no automation. From Niantic's data, these players look legitimate but well coordinated. So Niantic targets scanner platforms, infrastructure, back-end account farms, not the end users consuming the info. Okay? Now, let's be real here. Okay, let's be real here. Niantic could stop that if they wanted to. They don't want to. I mean, they will stop it and then they'll figure out a way to do it again, like the people that do it and whatever. I'm not saying it's bad. I'm not saying not to do it. I'm saying that you can't sit there and complain about cheaters and accuse me of cheating or anybody for cheating if you're doing the same thing, right? Okay, so here we go now. Why scanners disappear and come back. This explains a pattern players see all the time. A scanner gets shut down, community panics. Then a replacement appears under a new name. Users remain untouched. Why? Because shutting down platforms is cleaner, avoids false positives, avoids mass community backlash. Banning thousands of players based on suspected knowledge would be a PR disaster. Now, let me get into that for a second. So, there's been times when the scanners weren't working. The scanners were down, right? That it's not working. Like, you can't get nothing. Bro, the way how the community lost its goddamn mind was the funniest thing. Like, you would see people like, oh my god, it's not working. Like, it's like they were ready to like run headfirst into a brick wall. They were like losing their mind. And I don't mean everybody, but there was a good chunk. They were like, oh my god, you know, whatever. There was a time when out here, the dude that runs, I know it's more than one guy, but the dude, there's like a face of the scanners, right? He needed to get new equipment, right? And people out here, he asked for donations, like people to donate so that he can get equipment. Because remember what I said about him making people pay a one-time fee and getting it free forever? At the end of the day, that's a bad practice because those people don't pay. Once they pay that $250 8 years ago, well, I don't know how long it's been out. Let's say 4 years. You're not getting any more money from them. So people that pay monthly, yearly, those are the people you really want to like cater to in my eyes because they're actually putting money into the service so that you can get equipment. Anyways, when it was found out that he needed donations, not donations, but people to like just give him, I don't know if you call it donations. Like, I don't want to be mean. Like, he wanted to buy new stuff and he needed people to support, whatever, right? These people are like, yo, I ain't giving him any more money. But it's like, yo, use the service every day. Why would you not pay a monthly charge? And that's what I said. Like, you know, if it's monthly, would you pay for it? No, I'm not paying for it monthly. But why not? You use it every day. Like, every day. Why would you not pay monthly? It's like the ignorance of the community really got to me. It's like, bro, so this dude is doing something that is taking a lot of his time and he's giving you a service that you want, but you don't want to pay monthly for it or pay yearly. You want to pay that one-time payment and you're done with it. And it's like, but then when it doesn't work, you guys are crying that, oh, it's not working. What do I do? And you're complaining. But if you were paying monthly, he would have the funds to keep it running properly. I mean, there will be times when it doesn't, but it would be less than if you don't give the man the money. Like, it doesn't make sense to me. You're paying for a service. It's like, do you pay for your cell phone one time, your cell phone bill one time and never pay for it again? No, you don't. So shut up. Okay. So moving on from that scanner crap, we're going to talk about the Indians, rupees, cheaper coins. This one Niantic actually cares about. Well, we all know why. So here's the next topic. Then this one is very different. What people call the Indian rupees hack is not a gameplay cheat. It's regional pricing abuse. Some players manipulate App Store regions to buy Pokecoins cheaper in countries where prices are lower, especially India. This is where enforcement changes. Niantic cares about this because it directly affects revenue. It's provable through payment logs. It violates App Store and payment processor rules. This isn't ambiguous like scanner info. This is financial abuse. Now, going back to companies, if you take money out of their pocket, they don't like that, right? Okay, so the rupees thing, I don't know much about it, and I've said this before. All I know is that people buy something and get it very cheap and get a lot of coins for cheap. I've been around people who have 1,000,000 coins, right? Like 5,000, raid passes, like green passes, and, have all these coins. Like, I didn't know it was a thing, but I remember, remember when Gigantamax first came out? You remember how it was 25,000 to get, for the Stardust? Like 25,000 Stardust you get per battle, right? And you know how you use a star piece is 50,000? Then when you look at the bottom after a Gigantamax raid, it tells you you could pay an extra 200 and get double the rewards. I was wondering why so many people are using the 200. And I was like sitting there like, bro, that's ridiculous. How are you paying for that? That's why. If you can sit there with 1,000,000 coins, 500,000 coins, 200 per Gigantamax wouldn't affect you at all. Like, you have coins out the butt, right? Now, mind you, I've had at the most 10,000 coins because I've bought the packages where, when they give you double the coins or whatever. I've done that. But these dudes have so much coins they don't even know what to do with. Like, we're talking about they'll be sitting down and will remote raid across the street because I don't want to get up and do it. I have unlimited remote passes. I have so much coins. They don't have unlimited, but they have so much coins that they can just keep buying remotes and it's not a big deal. Now, it makes you wonder, right? Where does the line, where does the end here? Like, think of it like this, all right? My point of view. If I don't do it, I will always be behind you. You know what I'm saying? Now, if you are spending your legit money, paying full price, I'll still be behind you, but it's more respectable at that point, right? I'm not saying that I have an issue with them doing it. I'm talking about the reality of what the hell I'm talking about and the reality of the situation. It's like, okay, you use the rupees glitch, you have 1,000,000 coins. I don't, and I have 4,000. You see my point here? But I've probably spent more than you, probably not, but I've spent a good amount of money too, but yet I don't get the same perks as you because I'm not trying to cheat the system. You see what I'm saying? But you're cheating the system and it's okay. You see what I'm, now I know there's been bans before, but at the end of the day, like, when do they come out? Like, it's been how many years now, and this rupees thing, they just switched it around. It's different now, and they just change how they do it, right? Whatever. But like, it doesn't make sense to me why those things are allowed, and people will be like, yeah, it's okay, but you get banned for other things that wouldn't really affect them as much. Like, I can't understand why certain things are are allowed and certain things aren't. Like, you can't spoof, right? But you can spoof to the point where if I spoof to Mexico right now, catch a couple Pokemon, and then I wait the 2-hour timer, now I can do it back here. But shouldn't the spoof be like that right away? Like, once you spoof, if you are here and you are in Mexico in 2 hours, shouldn't that be reason for like, something not right here? But if you wait the 2 hours, you're fine. It's like, you want to crack down on cheating, but you allow things if they follow the rules to a point, right? I can't even speak on it because it doesn't make any goddamn sense to me. It's stupid, right? Like, it's honestly dumb. Like, it shows you Niantic is running things weird. Like, they have a double standard and it's so big, it's retarded. Like, it doesn't make any sense, right? And I'm not calling anybody retarded. I'm saying that's how it looks. It looks like Niantic is wearing a helmet and running down the street. Like, it's weird. Like, none of it makes sense. But you're talking about the Indians rupees glitch, right? And you're allowed to do it until they decide to cut it off. But then those same guys don't get perma banned. They get a 7-day ban or a 30-day ban. And what these guys will do is they will take those Pokemon that they got and either send it to home or send it to another account and do the same thing all over again. So explain to me how you're so big on harassment. Sorry, you're so big on bullying, but you're not big on things like that. Like, it's like, okay, whatever. Now, okay. Now, there's this thing where people will be like, they've been doing it for years. Okay, longevity does not mean safety. People often say Niantic doesn't care. People have done this for years. That's a misunderstanding. What actually happens, enforcement is delayed, quiet, often happens during audits. People caught usually lose coins, get store access restricted, get warnings or bans, stop talking about it publicly. Silence creates the illusion of safety. Now, this goes to what I'm saying too. Like, they wait till the time to do it when they can actually do it, but it doesn't stop the problem. Like, people will still do it. And what it also does, it then makes the rest of us who are not, breaking any rules might get banned for no reason, not knowing. You know what I'm saying? Like we would be like, yo, what are we doing? We didn't even know what we did. Niantic will do that. Like, companies have done this where they've banned a whole bunch of people thinking that they're doing something. Because, like, look at it like this. What if I spent $30,000 a month in the game, right? And they see all my coins, and then they say, whoa, my God, he's cheating. Are they really doing a deep dive into what you're doing? No, I don't think so. I think they look at just the main points of what they're looking at, and then they move on. They're not going to sit there and deep dive everybody. It doesn't make any sense. Now, what if, though, you used it for 6 months and then you stop for 6 months and they've been checking you for a year? Are they going to ban you because of the first 6 months? But you stopped doing it. Like, are they going to ban you because you used it at all? Whatever, right? Okay. Now here's another one. The Amazon phone walker. The gray area Niantic barely touches. This is a good one. Another behavior players argue about constantly. There are physical phone walker swing devices sold openly on Amazon. Most cost $12 to $30 Canadian. Some premium models cost $7 to $80. Damn. They physically move your phone to trigger adventure sync. They affect egg hatching, buddy candy, walking research. They do not teleport you, move your GPS location, help with raids or gyms. Now, that's okay though. Now, isn't that using a third-party device? You see what I'm saying? Like, it's like, I don't know, man. Like, you're using a device to help you walk, right? The whole point of the game was to walk. And back to what I said earlier, it's a kid's game. A lot of cheating. Now, I'm not saying the walkers are wrong. Like, I think it's fine if you want to do it because, you want to get those eggs, you want to hatch them, whatever, right? What if you are in a wheelchair? What if it's cold? What if it's snow, like you're in a snowstorm? Like, there's reasons why you'd use it, and I don't see a problem with it. But they don't care about that, but they care about the other stuff. You see where I'm going with all this? Okay. Why Niantic mostly ignores walkers? Low priority, high risk PR. Niantic doesn't actively crack down because no GPS manipulation, no modified app, hard to distinguish from treadmill use, accessibility and disability optics. It doesn't hurt revenue. This puts walkers in a gray area, not officially approved, rarely enforced. Okay, so like I said, I don't have an issue with it. Whatever. Like, there's many reasons why you can't walk, but you like the game. You like Pokemon. You can't walk, you work. So the only time you can get some, eggs hatched is when you go to sleep, you leave it on, let it hatch for you, right? You work, you're busy, you might not be able to walk. There's so many reasons why you could use it and it shouldn't be a problem. But like I said, TOS, it's against terms of service, but not enforced. And this is what I'm trying to say. Okay. Moving on to another one. So this is multi-accounting and account sharing. The most common rule violation, multiple accounts and account sharing are everywhere. Officially against the rules, but rarely enforced. Why? Impossible to prove ownership. Family members exist. false positives would be massive. Niantic knows it happens. They tolerate it because enforcing it would collapse many communities overnight. Now, when I was doing the ambassador application, right, they had this rule where you could not have community picks showing more than one device. So it became a thing where I had to tell people, bro, put the other phone away, right? The ambassador that we had, she enforced the hell out of that too. She enforced scanners too. She's like, no, we can't use scanners, but then used it herself. So you had to enforce these rules because it was a have to. Like, you had to do it. You had no way to tell them, like, bro, who cares? Like, because I look at it like this, and this is just me, right? When we would do Gigantamax, per example, when you do those Gigantamax where you needed, like, you know, a good amount of people, especially at the beginning, most people, if they weren't using the rupees glitch or anything like that, would only pay for the ticket and then use the particles that came with the ticket, right? But then when those people left, if you're trying to be there all day, you then got into a problem. Your numbers start to dwindle and it becomes harder and harder as time goes on. That's why I always liked it when people would come later on, you know, from work or something, and come like later on so that they could fill the spots that of people that had left, right? But if you have someone with 3 phones, that's 2 extra bodies in the Gigantamax raids, right? I'm not saying Dynamax. I'm talking Gigantamax. Dynamax, you know, you can do it with 4 people, you're fine. But what I'm saying is Gigantamax, where you needed a lot of people, I don't see the problem with having more than one account, more than one phone. Now, then you also have the people in rural areas that do not have access to multiple people that can join them. You know, you might be in a place where you're like the only player there, maybe like 2 other people. How are you going to do a 25-man lobby? Right? Now, you could use Pokegenie and all that, but Pokegenie in itself, it's slow. People might not stay in because there has to be, like, once people hear that you need 25, it could be 24 in there and they'll all just leave. Right? Pokegenie does not keep them there, and that's the other issue. Now, there are the things where people have, for some reason, I noticed that a lot of people have friends in Texas that will spend unlimited paper and jump into these raids, and they would call them, like, they would snipe in there. And, you know, now since you can have people look at your account and see that you're in a raid and they can just jump in. So a lot of these guys that I was playing with would have these guys out in Texas that would jump in. So, you know, like, you have those options, right? But that's not foolproof. But, like, if you have people directly there with multiple phones, that does help. Now, mind you, those people have to use, and then what people would do, because you have to use 2 phones, right? Like, you have one on the left and one on the right. There are people that will take your extra phones and play for you. But yeah. Anyways, so I don't see an issue with it, to be honest with you. But, you know, it's another rule that, you know, they enforce, but who do they, well, when do they enforce it? Like, they will cut people off if you have multiple accounts on your phone. I've heard of people, it's very, very low amount, but they still do it. But why? Like, I brought up this story the other day of a friend of mine who has, I think he has stage 4 lung cancer. Sometimes he can't come to the event, so someone plays for him. Are you going to sit there and ban him or ban the person playing for him? You know, like, what if your spouse was a big Pokemon player and they passed away or something? You can't use their account? Like, it's like when we do the community picks for the ambassador program, you couldn't have 2 phones sticking out because they would look at that and get mad. And it's like, what are you getting mad about? Like, most of the time when people have 2 phones, they're probably paying on both phones. So, like, who cares? Like, but you're enforcing that rule to a point, but then you get mad, you don't enforce the other ones. Like, it's like, what rules are you actually enforcing? Okay. So, auto catch devices and automation. Official auto catch devices are allowed. Unofficial automation exists too. Enforcement is inconsistent because automation boosts engagement, encourages grinding, encourages incubator use, Again, incentives matter. So we're talking about like the Gold Plus and whatever, right? Now you have these Doomons, you have the Gotcha, the wrist, the one that you put on your wrist, like a watch. Then also, wasn't it like, I think it was like Trainer Tips or Trainer Club or whatever, which one it is. They were selling the watch at one point, and it would do like, did it auto? I think it auto catch, but then it also would like give you like a 30-minute timer so you could interact with your buddy so you can get the boost. You know, the boost instead of using the Poffin. I can't remember what the hell it's called. But yeah, so like I said, you know, they allow things, right? But then they have issues with stuff, but then they allow other, like, to me, it's just, it's craziness. Okay. So emulators, time tricks, and minor exploits. These include emulator play, time zone tricks, animation skips. They're usually ignored unless combined with spoofing or bots. Niantic focuses on scale and damage, not small advantages. See, I don't know about the emulators, but I do know that if you use BlueStacks, right? And let's say you put Pokemon Go on BlueStacks and use your account, because BlueStacks has its own little spot where it does it, it will flag you and it will say that, yo, you just like cheated, like you went somewhere else. So I've never really seen people use BlueStacks for Pokemon Go, but I've heard of it being used for that. But because, you know, a lot of people like to play their games on their PC. All right, what Niantic actually prioritize? Niantic's real priorities: GPS spoofing, bots and automation, revenue abuse, modified clients. Everything else is lower priority, selectively enforced, often ignored unless combined with bigger violations. This isn't about fairness, it's about risk and cost, right? Now, why it feels like Niantic doesn't care. No public ban list, no transparency, quiet enforcement. So players assume if it's not punished, it must be allowed. That assumption is wrong, but understandable. And then the community fallout. When systems turn players against each other, this is where damage shows. Hardcore versus casual divide. Accusations of cheating, distrust, burnout, hypocrisy. Players fight each other instead of questioning the system. The core truth. This isn't about cheaters, it's about incentives. I cannot speak right now, I'm so tired. Niantic enforces based on proof, cost, risk, revenue. Not morality, not fairness. That's the uncomfortable truth. All right, so this is the end of it. So this is my closing, whatever. Transparency isn't promotion. I'm not encouraging cheating. I'm explaining reality. Talking about a problem isn't endorsement. Explaining systems isn't cheating. Sunlight doesn't damage communities, silence does. Now, people are going to jump into my comments and be like, oh, Nuff is being a crybaby. You know what? I followed their rules. And it took a couple crybabies to report and lie on me to then get permabanned for a strike, right? Now, people have been coming into my Discord. People have been talking to me in general, and telling me like they've seen worse. Like they've seen people do some like really bad stuff and don't get banned. Niantic knows they get a strike or whatever. But there's even things about ambassadors that have done some questionable things to people in the community and just lose their ambassador status, but they don't get banned. Yet I get banned for following the rules, but I spoke up against the injustices of everything. Now, I've been accused of cheating by people that are cheating, which is hilarious because it's like, bro, you're literally cheating and you're calling me a cheater? Like, get out of my face. I have also had people talk down to me like, oh, if it was me, I'd be so mad. Like, shut up, man. It's gonna be you eventually. Like, so don't, and you know what the difference between me, and then someone said to me in a previous video that me talking to y'all, I need a therapist. Look, man, do you know what I was doing today? I was playing Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Splinter's Fate. That's what it's called. With my son. We were literally playing. I was streaming. He was enjoying it. Before he went to bed, he said to me, "Daddy, thanks for playing with me." Like, this is what I get. Like, I have a family that loves me and wants to play with me, right? But I'm also going to speak up. And the thing is, people know now, like, yo, Nuff doesn't care. Like, I will tell you straight up. I have a Go Plus. I was around people that were cheating, but I don't judge. I don't care. Like, I was told, "Hey, man, want me to do the Indies Rupees glitch for me?" I could have, look, man, if I had known I would have got banned, I would have done all the cheating in the world. Straight up. Like, why not? The rupees thing, I would have done to save myself some money. Straight up. I would have done it just because. And I would have known to send my Pokemon over to home. Like, right away, I'd be like, "Yo, you're going to home, you're going to home." Because I use them for mainline walkthroughs, right? Not walkthroughs, but mainline games, and I play through it, right? Now, oh my God, I'm losing my voice. Sorry. But now, in conclusion from my part, without the script, if you cheat, I don't judge you. I don't consider it cheating. The game expects a lot from you, and a lot of people don't have the time or the energy. Like, how many times you work a hard job, you go home, and then you got to go do raid hour. You know what I'm saying? You want to play, you want to hit that inner child, but you're just goddamn tired. And I understand that. You should be allowed to do things to make life a little easier. At the end of the day, if you do the rupees thing, you're still paying money into it. If you use the scanners, you still have to get up and do something. Like, you still have to pay into it, not for Niantic's sake, but you do have to pay into that, and you have to move. Like, you can't just sit there and do it. So I understand people that do it. I have no issue with that. If I ran Niantic, I wouldn't even care about most of that stuff. The 2 phones, the 3 phones, the 9 phones, who cares? But, I would also have it where all this money that they have, all this money that they can't fix bugs in the game, they have glitches every day, they don't turn on shinies, all this stuff that they do, they couldn't get regular people to handle their customer service so that someone could look into it and say, "Hold on, this person got a whole bunch of reports. We're going to ban them, but let us do a little investigation work." They have more than enough money. And this also goes with what we say about Nintendo and Game Freak and how they have all this money and they don't make the games worth a damn. Right? You have indie games that look better and play better than a Pokemon game. And Pokemon has an unlimited funds. It's the most money-making IP in the world. And they give you crappy games that look like crap. Now, mind you, we enjoy it because we like Pokemon. Like right now, I have plushies that I had from community events that I never got to give away. I have a Pikachu with the Mimikyu costume on and a Gengar bag. Just found out that thing is being sold for $60, $54.99 in the US. And I'm like, damn, I could have sold that. I was going to give that away for free. Yet I'm the problem. And we can sit here and be like, "Oh, plushies aren't a big deal." Look, man, community engagement was the big deal. Putting people and making them happy and having them in a safe environment where they didn't have to worry about weirdos and giving away free stuff, for playing a game. That was wrong? No, it wasn't. That was the whole point. But hey, I get to keep my Pikachu bag. Oh, not Pikachu bag. It's a Pikachu plushie, whatever. Anyways, it looks good. I love it, and I'm going to keep it. So, and my Lugia. I still have my Lugia sitting here too because nobody wanted it. And I'm happy. I have other games to play. But this video was just to tell you guys, this is what's been going on with the company. This is the stuff that they allow. This is stuff that's this is why, if you always wondered why certain things you couldn't get and why other people were so much ahead of you, now you have your answer. Anyways, I'll see you in the next video. This was a long video. I apologize. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you got a lot of information that you can ask me about in the comments and I will respond to you. But At the end of the day, I wish you well. Have a good Christmas. And I hope you enjoy the game and you have fun. But always remember to spend time with your family and make sure it's a fun community event. Have fun, play well, and stop listening to YouTubers that don't know anything about the game. Okay, bye.